Hi there, this is Kristin, and welcome to my channel From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance. Every week, I go live to answer your questions with my answers. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I can't give any actual medical advice. All I can do is share with you what worked for me as I've recovered my life from severe chronic fatigue on 3 different occasions over the past 9 years. um, I'll start with the fact that I have recovered from my last relapse for a couple years now. Life has been awesome and great. And I've had time to reflect on what really worked for me and what I feel I can confidently share with you that will work for you as well. What I don't talk about on this channel are specific treatments. I don't talk about specific diseases. I don't talk about specific supplements or the doses of the supplements that I took. All right. Because there is no one size fits all plan to get any of us better until we understand our root causes. And for so many of us, our root causes are going to be different. We may even all have a unique set of root causes. It's that search for the root causes and the journey to treat those root causes that we need to be prepared for. All right. We each need to accept and prepare for our own journey, discovering our own root causes of our health issues. If the root causes of our issues were simple and easy and obvious, then we would have found them by now, because most of us have seen doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor and been told all the tests are normal, everything is fine, you just need to sleep more, you need to stress less, you need to change your diet, you need to exercise more, okay? And trust me, I'm sure you've all tried all of those things too. And if it were that simple, we'd be better by now. So when you've done all the conventional things and you still aren't better, it's time to start taking accountability for your health journey. Stop relying on the doctors to make you all better and start looking for what you actually need. All right. The way we do that, the way I help you do that, is by teaching the healing mindset. The healing mindset is the one thing that helped me get better each time. Okay. I needed more than mindset. This is not just in our heads. But there is a really important mind-body connection I can talk more about later that helps open us up and helps prepare our bodies to actually utilize our immune systems fully, so our bodies can start healing us and regenerating our health faster, okay? The healing mindset also helps because it helps you save energy every day. There's a lot of energy it takes to feel the heavy emotions of shame and frustration and guilt and despair. All right. And those emotions don't help us get better, and they steal our energy every day, and they actually shut down our body's healing capabilities. Okay. So we need to learn that it's okay to feel those emotions. They're normal, natural, healthy emotions, but we don't want to be dwelling in them. And the healing mindset teaches us how to move through those emotions and to live in the lighter emotions that don't cost us energy. They give us more energy than they take. They make us feel better immediately, and they help shape the decisions we make and help prepare us and give us hope and motivation for the healing journeys ahead of us. So, all right, we already got the chat active. Um, the way these calls work, if you've never been on them before, is basically am here to answer your questions. So get those ready, pop them in the chat. I will just go through the chat in order as things are posted. And these usually run anywhere from like 30 minutes to about an hour. Sometimes they go longer when there's a lot of activity in the chat. And I welcome you to jump in and introduce yourself and say hi to everyone else who's here. And feel free to jump in and offer some of your own support to the people who are posting. You know, this isn't just about me telling you what's up. This is also a place for you to connect with each other and build a little bit of online community in a place that is supportive. Okay, we won't tolerate any bullying or any what do they call it? Gatekeeping of illness. We are all here because we are all severely struggling with severe chronic fatigue. All right. And we all deserve health and we all deserve support. Awesome. Multiple questions are fine. Ask away. All right. Hi, Anna. Good to see you on. Hi, Nika. I think I've seen this name before. Welcome. Happy to see you're on. Hi, Ivan. Happy to have you guys as well. If you missed the very intro, my name is Kristin. Hello. Nika, have I ever had my mitochondrial function tested? So I'm wondering like what test specifically you're referring to. But I'm going to say probably not. There's a lot of tests I've had done over the years. And while I did need mitochondrial support supplements for a significant portion of my healing journey, they are not what cured me. They were really, in my experience, in my health issue, low mitochondrial function was a symptom of deeper root causes. Once I addressed those deeper root causes, my mitochondrial function improved, a lot of other things improved, and I was able to get off of the mitochondrial support supplements after a while. But I did need them, and I didn't go on them on my own. I went on them under the recommendation and supervision of a knowledgeable practitioner who helped me navigate the minefield that can be supplementation, because when you're taking multiple supplements at once, like I was taking multiple mitochondrial support supplements. It's not just about taking each supplement. You've got to make sure you take each supplement in the right dose for you, and the right doses are different for each of us. It's not a simple function of like body weight and gender, unfortunately. It's more personalized than that. And we also need to make sure that we're taking supplements in the right ratios with one another. For example, when I was just taking one supplement, one dose was appropriate, but when I added in another mitochondrial support supplement, I needed to change that dose of the first one based on my dose of the second one. And having a knowledgeable practitioner guiding me in that was absolutely critical. It was much faster. It was much safer. And then especially if you have negative reactions to supplements, which happens to some of us, you want someone there who can guide you through what is an expected negative reaction. Sometimes we have die-off reactions. Sometimes the body just needs some time to transition when we start taking a new supplement. Whereas sometimes there are harmful negative reactions that mean we either need to stop a supplement or that we're going to need additional support supplements to help our bodies through an additional like inner process. So, like I said earlier, I don't love talking about supplementation a lot because it's so personal and you really need someone monitoring your blood work. You need someone recommending these things who's able to help you navigate the specifics of your body. Let's see. Okay, Ivan. Multiple questions are totally cool. Why do I do this? Why would I spend this energy that I have now? So I have my life back. I don't know how much of my intro you saw. I've had my life back. Oh, the sun just came out. It got really bright, didn't it? I've had my life back for a couple years now. When I say I have my life back, I mean, I can work full time in an office. I can work out whenever I want to. I have a social life. I can plan for the future. I can plan for tomorrow. I can plan for a year from today with complete confidence. And I have energy. So this isn't a sacrifice for me anymore. I do this because it's something I feel compelled to do. When I'm not spending my time doing this, I'm always thinking about doing it. As long as I have like the next one on the calendar, I just feel better and calmer knowing I'm going to be connecting with you guys. And the reason I talk about what I talk about, the topics I cover on this channel, is because I don't see them anywhere else. I myself have been a part of a lot of different support communities for people who suffer with severe chronic fatigue, whether they have Hashimoto's or whether they have ME/CFS or whether they have fibromyalgia or Lyme's disease. I've been in a lot of communities. And I have seen people trying to treat each other. All right. And it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. And I think it's harmful to people who are still living with this to be receiving medical advice from people who are still sick themselves. When you have a professional athlete, whether they play soccer or basketball or baseball, right? They're hiring a coach who has proven results. They're working with someone who has either A, gotten those results for themselves, or B, maybe hasn't gotten those results for themselves, but has coached others to excellence, right? Same thing when we're healing, especially when we're healing. We want to be working with knowledgeable practitioners who have a track record of healing a lot of other people. And personally, I found that some of the best practitioners out there, whether they're licensed medical doctors or not, are people who have lived through the same thing we have, healed from it, and understand where we're coming from in a way that no one else can. So while I'm not a medical doctor or a therapist or licensed, and I can't give any medical advice, the one thing that helped me through all of my recoveries is my mindset. Okay. I needed a lot more than mindset. This wasn't just in my head. This is not just in your head. But having the right mindset in place laid the foundation for me to heal. And I don't see anyone talking about that. I don't see anyone helping people work on the mindset it takes to effectively heal. People are very focused on tests and treatments and supplements. And while those things are needed and necessary, I personally don't know anyone who's healed from this who learned how to heal from an online forum. Okay. They've worked with knowledgeable practitioners who help them heal. I recommend you do that. But to help you save energy from heavy emotions, to help shape the way you approach your healing journey, and especially to give you more hope and motivation every day, I talk about mindset because I think it is the foundation that got me through my 3 bouts of severe chronic fatigue, and I think can help all of you. So one thing I think I can talk about that can help everybody. So that's why I do this, my long-winded answer of why I do this. Okay, Nika, no, definitely have not done Mito swab or any tests by Dr. Myhill. In fact, I have not worked with, or I have not worked with any of the well-known like ME/CFS doctors at all. None of them seemed like the right person for me. I did a lot of searching and a lot of vetting for practitioners for me to work with, and none of them felt right for me. So if it's a specific person with a specific protocol, I haven't taken it. Or a test or whatever, I haven't taken it. Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for the well wishes. For those of you who don't know, I did not do this last week because I was on the bucket list vacation of a lifetime in Iceland, and it was so beautiful and so barren and so magical, and the food was delicious, and the hot springs are incredible, and it was just literally the best vacation of my entire life. Hmm. All right, Anna. How do you feel less bored while resting? This is a tough one. You try to listen to relaxation music, but after a couple hours, it's definitely boring. TV and podcasts make you tired, totally normal. The visual and auditory stimulus can be very exhausting, depending how severe your symptoms are. And you're trying to rest 6 hours a day, but most I am too bored. So the boredom thing is definitely a problem. Um, and this one I relate to. I've definitely gone through that. And for a lot of my journey, my solution was just to watch trashy TV. I would watch reality shows because they were the least exhausting TV I could find because they had no real plot to follow along with. It didn't matter if I forgot people's names. It didn't matter if I'd forgotten a previous show or what happened 5 minutes ago. It's just all about what's happening in the moment. So like, even if my brain fog was bad and I couldn't like follow along the dialogue, I could just watch what was happening. And that's not a good solution. That's not what I'm recommending. But I'm telling you, like, I understand that struggle. So, it sounds like you're looking for new and additional things to help hold your attention while you're trying to rest. And this isn't an easy thing to do. Like, if you're able to read a book, reading a book could be a great thing. Although for me, I wasn't able to read much because I couldn't remember the plot. I couldn't follow along with the book enough to remember what was happening to make it worthwhile reading. One thing I did a lot of was when I had the cognitive capacity to do it, I spent a lot of time researching online. And I wasn't researching my health issues as much as I was researching doctors. I think I've been realizing the past couple days that I've told you guys about how to know if you found a great doctor, how to look for a great doctor, where to look for a great doctor. What I haven't done a great job communicating is how much time I spent researching doctors and vetting them before ever working with them or committing to their protocols or anything like that. I spent as much of my day as possible reading online, researching about who to work with, about finding who I could deeply trust to take me on a healing journey. And it was slow. I definitely went months of time sometimes without any practitioner to work with, just literally getting by on my own day to day, sometimes getting worse, not really getting better. Um, but holding out for that person who could help me heal. And there were a few reasons I did that. A big one was money. Money was super tight. I was living off of my savings, and I had an app at the time that was bringing in a little bit of money. It wasn't enough to live off of, and I wasn't about to jump in financially with the doctor until I was really certain that they were the right ones. So I would, watch their YouTubes. I would read their blogs. I would sign up for their email lists, and I would try to get to know that doctor as well as I could. um Try emailing them. They always want to set up a free call with you if you're working with someone online. Look for reviews, read other people's reviews, like go in depth as much as possible before I would even sign up for that free call with them. So there were very few doctors I actually met with, very few doctors I vetted who I really felt like I could trust enough to treat me as an individual and not stick me into their predefined plan of healing, because I knew that whatever their predefined plan of healing was, it wasn't going to heal me. I didn't have something that was common enough for other people to be experiencing it. I wanted someone who would treat me like an individual, who would test my blood work like an individual, who would prescribe me a treatment plan like an individual. And using my time that way when I was resting was really, really beneficial for me. One really important caveat I'm going to add there, Anna, is that it can become really stressful when you're searching and researching online. And this is where I think the healing mindset really comes into play and really helps, because it pays off and takes less energy if you can keep yourself calm and hopeful and motivated when you're searching like this every day. So the other thing I would recommend when you're bored is trying to do more things that you enjoy, that are relaxing to you. And that can be hard, right? We can't go out and do what we really want to do. So we've got to find a way to know what it is that we want to do and find ways to do it in small little pieces. Um, One thing that can be really calming for people is knitting. If you have any interest in like fashion or colors or art, knitting can be a great way to get a little bit of that fix and bring a little bit of that joy back into your life. Even if it's not exactly what you want to be doing, it's better than not having any involvement in this world. And I talk about knitting because all you need are a couple needles and some yarn. And you can sit there, you can be like lying down. You can be in a state where you need to do nothing but lie down, and you can like have your wrists propped up on your rib cage. So you don't even have to be holding your arms up very much. And you're just twisting your hands. you're doing the whole like knitting experience. I know how to knit and purl. It's been a long time since I've done it. I'd have to really kind of work my way through it again. But it's a way to create something. And knitting is great because you can pick it up and put it down anytime that you have the energy or anytime that the energy leaves you. I see there's a lot happening in, oh, good thing I checked. I was going to say there's a lot happening in the chat. I will catch up when I'm done with this point. I see some nasty spam. So I am going to remove them. Okay, cool. Oh, hide user. And all right, there we go. Their messages are hidden. Great. Lots to catch up on in the chat. Okay, so I was talking about, like little activities you can do. Bring the things that you enjoy into your life in the smallest way possible. And I think knitting is a great thing to do because you can pick it up and put it down anytime. If you're just doing knit purl or whatever, like you're not out to make like a perfect masterpiece. You're just out to create something and keep yourself occupied when you can't do much else. If you can give me examples of things that you enjoy, we could brainstorm ways to bring that into your life in really small ways. I know one thing I've talked about before is like, say you're really into salsa dancing, and obviously you can't salsa dance anymore. But maybe you have dreams of like when you get your health back, being able to go to classes again and getting into performing or something like that. One thing that's a really tiny little thing that you could do is start designing your own like salsa outfit. Okay. And maybe you can start sewing a few sequins onto a piece of cloth, maybe just like, even if it's just 5 sequins a day is all you can manage. It's the kind of thing that over time and with consistency, since we have lots of time, and healing journeys don't happen overnight. Mine still took years and years, but it was worth it because here I am today. Having something that you progressively create can be really, really helpful to us because it can feel like we're not going anywhere. And when you can look back and you've knitted a whole scarf after 3 months, it can give you a sense of like, oh, things can happen even if I can only do a tiny amount every day, right? Or after 3 months and you have like a skirt with sequins on it, like that's showing that you still have a little bit of control over your life. You're still making progress. Something is still happening, even if it's not everything that you want. And I find those little projects, we can add those into our lives to be motivating, to give us more hope, to give us a little sense of control over our lives that are otherwise so far removed from everyone else's. So to summarize that, you're asking how to spend time. I personally, from my own experience, I would recommend using as much of your time to research people who can help you, finding the right practitioners to get you on the right plan, okay? If you have a great practitioner and you feel like you're already on that great plan, I would spend more time looking up what they're having you do. Like, develop an understanding of what's happening in your body when, this thing is wrong with you and you're taking this thing to treat that. Like, what's happening inside the body? Like, develop that sense of knowledge about what's going on with you. I would also recommend finding ways to bring things that you enjoy into your life in the smallest way possible within your energy envelope, something that ideally you can make a little bit of progress on over day so that over time you can actually see the collective benefits of those small bits of effort. And then third, I, of course, would also recommend setting aside some of that time every day to meditate. Meditating is immensely healing, immensely helpful, immensely clarifying. And for me, it's an accumulative process. So once I started doing it every day, it was something that helped me more each time I did it. It's not like, an hour today and an hour tomorrow and an hour the day after maintained my level of mindset that I had achieved. It helped it grow every day, kind of like fitness. Like if you go to the gym for an hour a day every day, which obviously we're not probably a bad example with this crowd. Oh God, but I'll stick with it. Over time, if you're healthy, over time, your fitness is going to improve. It's not just going to stay at the same level. It's going to improve. And meditation, I think, is the same way. And oops, I just hit my mic and then dropped it. And I think a great way to spend anywhere from like 20 to 60 minutes a day meditating when you have that kind of time. And then, of course, there's always my YouTube videos if you're not too exhausted. But all right, that was a nice, long little monologue from me. Let's see, Anna. I'm wondering. All right, she has a lot of research in making appointments. I'm going to add something to that. It's hard making appointments because they take so much energy. That's a big reason. That's another reason why I didn't meet with many doctors, because of the time and energy it took to go to an appointment. And if I went to see somebody and left disheartened and disappointed, it cost me even more energy. So, it's about finding a balance between spending time looking for the right person and then like pulling the trigger on meeting with them to determine if they are a good fit for you or not. And conserving energy. Like, we want to make sure you're not spending too much energy and getting too burned out on appointment after appointment, because that is its own form of hell when you're ill like this, going to doctors who are immensely disrespectful, minimizing, even just unhelpful, right? Let's see. Okay, Anna, you found a famous one for CFS, but one appointment cost 700 euros. And his homepage sounded like he would not treat you like an individual. I think that right there says it all. Like, if this doctor is actually treating ME/CFS like there's like one solution to it, he sounds like a quack to me. And he sounds like someone who's taking advantage of people who are desperate. He probably doesn't feel that way. He probably believes in what he does. I'm sure he helps some people, but there's too much of that high cost stuff happening without adequate results for most. All right, let me get back to the flow of the chat. Let's see. All right, Ivan Plum. How did I deal with family, friends not understanding, including doctors? We look all good, but hell is happening inside. I do know what you mean. I lost a lot of friends during my health issues, especially the repeated health issues, because a lot of people didn't understand and they felt very doubtful about my experience of what was happening to me. And just because of the fact that I couldn't go out and be the friend that I wanted to be, or that they wanted me to be, I definitely lost a lot of people in my world through that. There were a couple who have stayed with me though, and those people mean a lot to me. If people are not being your friends, just addressing friends right now, if people are not being your friends as a result of your illness, they're not really your friends. The people who care are there for you no matter what. And there aren't many of them, and that's okay. We don't all need 100 friends. We need like 2 or 3 really good ones. And everything else is just icing, in my opinion. I think the number one thing to do with friends to help them understand where you're at and to help them be supportive of you is to let them into your world. Be honest with them. Be a little vulnerable with them about what's really going on with you and how you feel about it. Be honest about how scary all this is. Be honest about how people don't understand and how what it looks like from the outside. And tell them that you want nothing more than just to be believed in your experience of what's happening. That you want people to believe that you're not just lazy or crazy. And find a way to do it where it's about the telling and the sharing and not about the outcome. We can't control others, and we can't place big expectations on them on how to respond to what we're doing. We have to leave our expectations off others, and we need to sit back and let people show us how they respond to our times of need. And being able to hold space for them. Like, yes, you're the one who's ill, and yes, you're the one who needs the most support right now. But over time, I have realized that with something this poorly understood and mysterious going on, the people in our lives who care about us also need some emotional space and need an emotional support through this, because it's hard for them to be there for us. It's hard for them to um, to sympathize with us, and maybe they can have some empathy, but they really can't understand where we're at. And we need to have some acceptance around the fact that they can't really fully understand what's happening. But if they care about us and they want to be there for us, sometimes we need to let that be enough. And sometimes we need to accept that we need to be really specific and ask for what we need from them because they don't know. So it really comes down to really great communication with the people in your life who are trying to show up for you, who do care. And don't waste your energy on those who leave your life willingly because of this, because they're not really there for you in the first place. And it's hard. And if you've lost friends, or you're in the process of losing friends, that is a big loss in your life. Even if they're not worthy of your continued friendship, it's still a loss. And I think it's worth creating a little bit of time and space to grieve the losses of those friendships. It's okay to do that. Just not to try not to dwell on them. Don't let them take more of your energy through those heavy emotions, and take their leaving as an opportunity to spend a little more of your energy and time with people who are giving back to you. Now, when it comes to family, that's a whole other beast. My family was never supportive of me throughout my health issues. I never received any financial support from them. I never lived with any of them. I never got understanding or sympathy. In fact, it was infuriating to me. One of the times I was out of work with this, my mother called me and asked me to give my baby sister $500, which I didn't do because I couldn't, because I needed that. I needed that money to survive. It was about survival at that point. But that was how insensitive and not understanding my family was of me. I mean, that was a pretty low blow. And she asked me to give my sister money. Like, I don't even know. Even just thinking about it now, it's freaking insane. I don't have a good relationship with my mother. I've had family members disbelieve me to the point that they think I was a sugar baby and I had a sugar daddy, and I left work because my sugar daddy was funding my lifestyle. And I instead fabricated this story about being ill. And people like that typically aren't open to listening. So I didn't try. I honestly just let them go. The people who weren't supportive of me, who weren't there for me, who weren't trying to have conversations or trying to understand or trying to be supportive of me, weren't worthy of my time or energy. So they got none. They got none of my energy. I needed to be selfish, to focus on me, to heal. And that worked for me. As for the family members who don't really get it but want to, the family members who are doing what they can to be supportive of you, even if even if their actions are misguided, even if they're doing things that actually may not be helping you, and maybe they're doing and saying things that actually are harming you, but they're there for you and they care. That's where it's worth investing some time into that relationship, because they're showing up for you. And this is where holding a little bit of space comes into play again, because as much as we desire for them to have empathy for us and our situation and give us everything we need, in turn, we need to give them a little bit of the same. We need to think about, like, well, if I was in a situation where I've never gone through like a major health crisis, I've never experienced severe chronic fatigue or any of the other symptoms I'm going through. And suddenly someone very close to me says that they have these things, but everything looks fine. The doctors can't find anything wrong. Like, there's nothing physical or tangible that they can interact with to say like, I see what's going on. They just have to take your word for it. That can be a really hard thing for some people to really wrap their minds around. And the more empathy we can have for them, the more peace we can approach that conversation with. I think it can be really helpful if you're able to, I was going to say, like, calmly bring up the topic, although it's very hard to have calm conversations around this because it's so emotional for us. But if you're able to find a way to calmly sit them down and say, like, I understand where you're coming from. Say to them, I hear you on this. I understand that you think I just need to go back to school. I understand that you think I just need to exercise more again. I understand that you think it's just my diet or like, whatever. Like, show them that you're listening and that you hear them. That usually opens up people to listening to what you have to say a lot faster and easier. And it comes down to explaining to them really what's going on for you emotionally. Like, repeating the facts again isn't going to change their response to the facts, right? If you can open up your emotional world and be a little vulnerable with them, that usually gets people back on your side. If you can say, look, I don't understand what's going on either. There are a lot of other people, there are millions of other people in the world experiencing symptoms like me, going through this like me, and there are millions of other caregivers like you who are struggling through this with them. Right now, I'm really scared. I'm terrified because I don't know if I'll ever get better. I don't know why this happened, and that's scary as well. And just kind of like talk about where you're at emotionally and then talk about where you're hoping to get. Like, I want nothing more than to feel hope for overcoming this. I could really use some support around that. I could really use help feeling more hopeful in this. And when you can talk about your emotions and your emotional needs, it's usually a lot easier for people to say, okay, I care about this person. I love this person. I want to help them with these emotional needs. And when you keep the conversation around that, there's usually a much deeper connection that gets formed. But like I said, super important to only have those conversations with the people who are showing up for you and showing you that they care, even if those actions are misguided. Okay. I wouldn't waste your energy, your precious, precious energy on trying to convince someone of anything. We don't have the energy for that. And that usually doesn't work even for healthy people, trying to convince people of other things. So yeah, long-winded answer. I'll summarize that. If you're talking about friends, the people who aren't putting in the time, let them go. Go ahead and grieve the loss of that friendship if you need to. Totally healthy and normal, but take that as an opportunity to instead put that extra time and energy into the friendships that are there for you. And when it comes to family, I guess it's really similar advice, where just don't waste your energy on the doubters and the people who are not showing up for you. Focus on the family members who are, and really try to emotionally invest in those relationships with them. I think that gets you the furthest. And what's coming to mind right now is the fact that sometimes those dynamics aren't that simple. Sometimes if you're living with family, things can get a lot more complicated. So what I would do is, if you have additional, like, more specific family situations that you want to ask about, go ahead and put those in the chat and we can get into more details about this stuff, because I try to keep my answers like directed like to your question or to the level that you ask. But we can totally get into more specific scenarios. And I think what also happens that I think is really cool is when we do get into more specific questions, or when you ask more specific questions around certain scenarios, more people in the chat start to empathize with you, and we get more conversation happening over there too, which is really helpful for everyone to see. Let's see. Hi, Roxy. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, how do we deal with close family that doesn't get it, that we can't function at all? We are trapped in guilt and stress because of their attitude. All right. So mostly just talked about that. It's not fair when family members treat us that way, but it helps to know, even though it's not easy, even though it's really, really hard, how we respond to their negativity and criticism is a choice and is within our power. We have to learn how to develop and exercise that power to control how we respond to them. And it's not about perfection. My mother still makes me furious to this day, even though I've spent years working on detaching my emotions from her actions. We don't have to be trapped in guilt and stress. We don't have to believe what they say. We don't have to emotionally invest as much in their words. This is another situation where, like, if you felt comfortable getting more specific about the scenario, we could probably go a little bit deeper into what exactly they're saying and why it's causing so much grief for you, and why you're still listening to them. You know, it's sometimes it's healthy for us to cut people out of our lives. It's a really hard thing to do, but if we're able to, sometimes things can get a lot better. I actually, this is a great time for me to mention, for those of you who are new, I during my first health crisis, I've had three with severe chronic fatigue. During the first one, I had been in a relationship that was very toxic. Okay. I loved this man. I loved him. And yet he was verbally and physically abusive to me while I was too ill to be in a job. If you can imagine living with what you're living with and then also facing daily verbal and sometimes physical abuse, it was just beyond. Okay. And I stayed in that relationship for months. And it wasn't until I finally started working on my mindset through meditation and self-awareness and self-acceptance that I started caring about myself enough to do something about it. And even though it was really hard and really scary and terrifying to move when I was still so ill, it caused me to crash for like weeks afterwards. It was still 100% worth leaving that relationship, finding a new place to live, setting up a new routine, finding a new support, daily support for the health issues that I needed. My health improved dramatically after I got out of that relationship. I had been blind to how much of my energy I was giving away to him every day through the super heavy negative emotions of, he made me feel guilty. He made me feel like the problem. He put pressure on me to do things I couldn't do and didn't want to do. The verbal abuse was exhausting because I would want to fight back as much as I could. I mean, it was a toxic situation that was robbing me of the tiny amount of energy I already had. I was pouring so much of that into the relationship that once I left, I had all this energy every day that I wasn't wasting on emotions or fights. And, you know, that wasn't enough to heal me, but it got me out of the fight or flight, stress, sympathetic nervous response. Okay. It got my body out of that. When your body's in that stress response, the fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system response, your immune system is suppressed, your body's healing modalities are suppressed, and you cannot heal as quickly. I had to leave that situation to de-stress and find calmness and peace in my everyday life. And once I created more of that calmness and peace, my body's parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system, got switched on every day. And that was a very fast cumulative effect of my body was finally able to start working towards my health. All right. By being so stressed and being in a toxic relationship for so long, I was actually getting in my body's way of healing. I need a lot more than just getting out of that stressful response. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a tissue. I needed a lot more than just that, but I also needed to end that incredible stress that was crushing me, that was robbing me not only of my health, but also of my health and sanity. So Yeah, I mean, it was really, really hard, but it was completely worth it for me to leave that and find something else, even if I crashed for weeks afterwards. And those are the really hard, brave decisions that we need to make for ourselves sometimes. And I needed the shift in mindset. I needed to shift into the healing mindset to make that really hard decision for myself to do it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I don't think I'd be here today if I'd never made that decision. Period. Okay. All right. People talking about practitioners. Anna asking, how did I research my doctors? You only Google like CFS and doctor. Oh yeah, I definitely did not Google just CFS and doctor. Because I didn't have a good reason at the time other than I was kind of wary of anyone who said they treated just one specific illness. Also because I had never been formally diagnosed with CFS. Like, you go on and you can look at the diagnostic criteria, and like, I had the hallmark symptoms. I had the extreme, like, post-exertional malaise. I had the POTS symptoms, and I found a lot of people prescribing one specific method to cure CFS, and I just wanted to stay as far away from that community as I possibly could. So instead of focusing on a diagnosis like CFS, like, honestly, let's talk about this for a second. CFS as a diagnosis is complete crap. Okay. It doesn't tell you anything about what's wrong with you. Like, literally, all it is some doctors got together and said, okay, well, we see these patients have similar symptoms. We're going to give it all the same label. But there could be the same thing going on in everybody, or it could be something different going on in everybody. We have no idea what's actually going on in anybody. All we know are their symptoms. It's like, it's like saying, like, okay, so you have like 100 boxes and you don't know what's inside these boxes. You have no idea if, like, each box could contain something different. They could all contain the same thing. One could contain food. One could contain a rock. One could have a Game Boy in it. Like, you have no idea what's in these boxes, but they're all red on the outside. Wow, let's call these red boxes CFS because they all look red on the outside. They all have the same presentation, right? That's all the diagnosis of CFS is. It's not even a real diagnosis. It's just a name for a collection of symptoms. So I Googled my symptoms and I looked for people who wrote about my symptoms extensively. And I looked for the way they talked about my symptoms and what they recommended for their patients, and how they approached those symptoms. And I looked for people who saw the body as a whole. I looked for people who had been ill with this on their own first and gotten better from it and now made it their life's mission to help others. I had looked for people who acknowledged that there can be many, many root causes for the same symptom, right? Like, if you're here with severe chronic fatigue, it could be because you actually have like fibromyalgia. You could have a specific autoimmune disorder, like Hashimoto's, which is affecting your thyroid. You could be chronically dehydrated. Like, I know that's a silly one to put out there, but that's a symptom of, like, severe dehydration. um, you could have Lyme's disease, right? So I looked for practitioners who treated each person as an individual and as a case. Like, we need to get to the bottom of your specific root causes. So yeah, I did not take the CFS doctor Google approach. I took the like, taking my major symptoms and my major actual diagnoses, and I Googled those as well. So, like, some of the actual diagnoses I was formally diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Okay. That's something that can be specifically diagnosed as a problem because We could see that my thyroid hormone levels were too low. We knew that my thyroid was underperforming. And we could see that I had thyroid antibodies that were high, meaning my body was actively destroying my thyroid hormone. Okay, that's a real diagnosis. That is like, this box is blue, but we know what's in the box. And blue boxes with this thing on the inside are Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Or, I had some blood work done that confirmed a very severe iodine deficiency that I had. Okay, that's a purple box with something very specific inside of it. We know what the outside and the inside of the box are for iodine deficiency. So I would take those collections of things that had been diagnosed in me already, and start researching thought leaders on those specific topics as well. And, it's not just about looking through the search results for which doctors are listed. It's about reading other people's articles and finding out who they're referencing. If they're referencing another practitioner, that's someone I want to look into. If they're linking to someone else's blog post, that makes me more interested in them because it gives that other person more credibility, right? So it's about that network of going down the rabbit hole of, well, I did this Google search and it led me to this page, but then that brought me to that page and that page and that page. And as you do that, some people start to pop up frequently. And some of those people who pop up, you can research them further and you see a lot of success stories behind them. Not just a few, not just a trickle, not just what's on their website, but independent success stories. And those are the people I wanted to work with. Now, I'm talking a lot today about the people I worked with who helped me heal. So that was how I researched doctors. I also found lists online, people hosted websites online of doctors who specialize in severe, poorly understood health issues, who take a functional medicine approach, a holistic medicine approach. And I would hunt through those lists and research the doctors in there who I thought might be a good fit for me as well. Like one was, what did I use? I think it was called Primal Docs. I don't even know if it's up anymore. Let me look here. Oh, it's the same logo. They've gone through a rebranding. It's an invitation-only network of real-world physicians and healthcare professionals. Yeah, okay, looks like maybe, I found, let's see, I'll put a link in the chat. I found websites like this where people had collected doctors who help people like us. It doesn't mean any of these doctors or all of these doctors will be a good fit for you. You still got to find the one who's the right fit for you. But lists like this are a good place to start a focused search. Okay, Anna. Do I have any meditation videos that I recommend? Yeah, I have a couple on my channel, and then there's also a specific guided meditation that I have used that I recommend personally and absolutely love. So let me pull those up for you. So I hope the website's still up. Here we go. This is it. Now, I know this website is all about sleep and insomnia, but it's actually a fantastic meditation to get your body into parasympathetic. I can't talk and type at the same time. I can't talk and spell at the same time. Parasympathetic nervous system dominance, aka rest and digest healing mode. So what's great about the Sounder Sleeper system is that they practice a specific type of guided meditation where you're connecting your breath with very tiny movements of your hands in certain positions. And by combining intentional movement of your body with your breath, that is what's activating the parasympathetic nervous system. And this specific system was immensely helpful to me while I was still ill. It really unlocked that calm, peaceful feeling inside me, that calm, peaceful state of mind. And then let me go to my channel here and grab a couple quick links. Let's see, videos. All right. All right, I will grab a couple of these. This is a newer one that I did. Copy link address. Yeah, all these YouTube videos I'm posting go to my channel. People really liked this body scan meditation. This second link I'm posting, people really liked this one. And then let me just grab one more. If you come to my videos and you just search meditation, you'll find a few more here. Link address. Okay, so there's 3 meditations from my channel that I personally recommend. I wouldn't have put them on the channel if I didn't think they'd be helpful for you, obviously. So I'd recommend the ones on my channel, and then also the Sounder Sleep System. Even though I know it says it's for insomnia and sleep, it's actually just really great for getting you into the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, which of course will help you sleep more deeply as well. Super cool. Nika, your doctor thought you were a psychotic due to light sensitivity. That's just infuriating. Like being psychotic is the only potential cause for light sensitivity. No. Tons of people with severe chronic fatigue have all sorts of stimulus sensitivity. Light, sound, smell. Smell is a big one. So I'm sorry you had that experience with your doctor, Nika. That's bizarre and unfortunate. And it sounds like you just let that roll right off your back, as you should. All right, Ivan, you're welcome for the answer. Let's see, it took you 1.5 years to open up about it, and you lost many friends that couldn't get what you were bringing before. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's not easy, but you know what? It's okay. The first time I got better, the first time I got my life back, there was a moment where I got to decide, am I going to reach out to those people who weren't in my life anymore? And the answer was no. But the interesting part was 1 or 2 of them reached out to me, or I would bump into them when I was out, and people seemed really genuinely happy to see me. So it became the kind of situation where like people didn't hate me, people didn't like me. It seemed like, for some people anyway, it's more their own discomfort with the emotions that were coming up. Having to be around me when I was ill was too much for them. Does that make them real friends? No. But it does make them very human. Okay, yep, but some stayed, some do not understand, and some try to, and it's not black and white. Yeah. And make sure you're pouring your time to the people who are worth it. Like if someone's showing up for us and being really great and well-meaning, they're worth spending a little time on even when we're ill, because those connections, those friendships tend to give us more energy than we put in. So sometimes it's worth a little extra energy on our part, even though our energy's low. And it's about finding new ways to express our gratitude and appreciation for the people who are in our lives. Even if you can't like go out with them the way you used to, or can't get dinner or like hang out like you used to, if you're able to just send a text message sometime, like, hey, thinking about you. Thanks so much for that thing you said the other day. Hey, I miss our talks or whatever. That can mean a lot to people, and it fits within your energy envelope. And yes, Ivan, family is a whole different level. Like, it all starts with your original family dynamic, and mine was not good before I even got sick. So it just got worse when I was ill. Okay. Oh, Jack, you're welcome. And of course, no one should stay on these things longer than they have energy for. So go rest. Yep. Oh, one thing I forgot to announce is that I have these Q&As planned every Thursday in December. So we are good through the rest of the month. Same time, same place, YouTube. Every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Roxy, the relationship with the parent is complex. You can't just turn your back and see if, well, some people do cut their parents off. I haven't. I honestly wish I could, but it would harm my other familial relationships too much. I have 3 sisters, and then my dad as well. And it would cost me those relationships. So I understand it's not always easy to walk away. But people do it. And some people feel really freaking good for doing it. So I'm just saying that. I'm not saying you should. I don't know your situation well enough at all. I don't know any of the details. But I'm saying what I said in the hopes that someone who needs to hear that thinks about that option. Let's see. Okay, Jack is asking, did I ever have any B12 shots or look into them? You know, blood test results don't always show up deficiencies. No, I've never done B12 shots. My doctor had wanted me to, and I was going to. I was fully open to trying it. But in the US here, I needed to get them through a compounding pharmacy, which is a very different and special type of pharmacy. And I don't even remember what happened, but there was some issue with the type, and like, I don't know, it just never happened. All right, Anna. Oh, Anna, you are welcome. And that comment makes my day. I'm here for you guys. I know what it's like to not have anyone to understand what you're going through, and no one in your life to talk to about the intricacies of living with this. Like, you know, let's not, for a second, let's just not focus on healing. Let's just focus on the fact that we have to live with this day in and day out until we get our lives back. And that's really hard. And everyone else just doesn't get it. They can't have these conversations with you. Just like I had no one to have these conversations with me when I was still living through it, other than like my health coaches or like the practitioner I was working with, or my doctor. But you don't see them every day. You know what I mean? You don't even see them every week. Hopefully, you have more than a week in between each session. Yeah. So we are up on an hour. If anyone wants to pop a quick question in the chat right now, I will talk through that. If not, I'll be signing off. I want to reiterate that we are doing this live stream here every Thursday in December, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll post the dates and calendar invites into the description of this video. So in like 10 minutes or so after the video like renders and saves, I can update the description to have all of the future Q&As. And then also I have started a Facebook group where the community can interact on a daily basis, right? So it's a place for me to share more content and insights with you. And it's also a place for you guys to share more with each other and have another place to interact more than just once a week here on the live stream. If you're interested in that Facebook group, I am going to post that into the description link as well. And I hope that you join us to get even more of this content out there. If you love what I'm doing, it would help me immensely if you shared this channel or shared one of your favorite videos in a group forum somewhere with other people who are living with severe chronic fatigue. Help me get the word out there. Help share this. Help grow our community and help others grow into that healing mindset and give back the gift of hope and motivation. We all need a little bit more of that, right? All right, no questions. So I'm going to pop off. I can't wait to do this again with you next week already. Sending you love and health. I am Kristin. Bye, guys.